everyone, I just wanted to give you a quick update and some instructions about how to pull the new board repo and start working on it and how to deal with the 4 layers and stuff like that. So I'm in Get Kraken right now. First step you need to do is pull the repo. So hit pull there. If you get any errors saying, can't check out and stuff because there are changes, you can just discard your local changes. That's fine. Then we need to get on the right branch, which is v0.5 rev A. So in the sidebar here, head over there and click checkout. So make sure that goes through and that you see v0.5 rev A up here. Then the last thing you need to do before we start working is update the submodule. So down here, click on the side and click update. And then that should go through for you. Now we're ready to go over to KiCad. So we'll go in and now we need to open the project. So open, and then under the OBC hardware directory, it's in the v0.5 folder. And then go find the 0.5 project file and click open. Then open up the PCB, just full screen that. So we need to set up a couple things before we start working. So the first thing is go to View, switch Canvas to OpenGL, or else it does weird things. The next thing we need to do is the hotkeys. So just search for that and let's go edit them. I'm gonna point out the settings I have so that you guys can say yours the same, so it's just easy. We're all on the same page and all that. So go over to the board editor section. This command, add blind buried via. This is something else by default. I have it as command V. You probably won't need to use that because it'll deal with it automatically, but it's probably a nice idea to set it to this command. And then the last thing we need to do is the layer switching. So currently on a 2-layer, switching layers is just happening with the V key, but we have 4 layers now. So set the front copper layer, set the hotkey to 1, so just click on this row and press 1. It'll say it's a duplicate, but just say you wanna overwrite that. And then set inner layer 1 to the 2 key. Inner layer 2 is the 3 key, and then bottom copper is 4. And then click OK. So let's just test that out. So go to your wire tool, and then if I press 1, I'm on top layer, 2 is ground, 3 is 3v3, and 4 is bottom copper. So the top and the bottom copper layers, we're going to use exactly like we've used them in the past. The 2 middle layers, 2 and 3, are ground, and 3.3. And in this section you guys need to route. We're not going to need to jump into those layers to just route traces, like it's not dense enough like it is here where we need to. It's pretty low key over here, so you'll be able to manage with just the 2 layers. There's one exception to that, which I'll talk about in a sec. A couple things we need to do before we start routing. Set the trace width to 1/4 millimeter. Set your grid to something really small. And in your wire tool, right click and go to routing options, and you probably want to put it in shove. That's the mode I usually use. So just press OK. Now we're ready to route. And as I mentioned before, we need to do the top left section. So just this area around my mouse here. Don't do the USB and don't do the power because we have a couple things that might change with that. And a couple special things we need to do for those. So leave the bottom left, do the top left kind of 1/4 of the board, and then everything else is actually done. So that's good. But for routing, I'll just give a couple examples. do nice straight traces. Pretty much we'll be on the top layer the whole time unless we really need to go to the green or 4 layer. You know, you'll be able to manage with the 2 layers, no problem. The only thing in terms of jumping into layers 2 and 3 is for the power sections and ground. So this pin is labeled 3v3, and so is this guy. So these two are close, so we can just connect them, that's fine. But then we don't need to route these 3.3s together with tracks because we have the plane layer on layer 3. So to do a 3v3 or a ground, start on the top layer, so press 1, so you're on the top. Bring a track out from the pad a bit, press V, create a via, and then press 3, and that'll bring you into the 3.3 volt layer. And then click, and then you got the via created. And then you can just press escape. And now this is done. This will get connected up automatically, so we don't need to worry about it anymore. The same goes for ground. So it's telling me I need to connect these 2 pins. That's not correct. That's just because I haven't gone into the plane layer yet. So same thing as 3v3. So drag a trace out a bit, press V, create a via, and this is ground, so I'm going to go to the 2nd layer and click, and then that's done. And so the connection is complete. So just give yourself a bit of space between your via and your pad. And that's really the only thing you need to do. The rest of it is the same as we've done before. So we're just going to use the top and the bottom layers for signals. So let's say I wanted to come up here. And I'm like, oh no, I can't go around. I actually can, and I should, but again, press V, and I'm going to go to the 4th layer, so press 4. Now I'm on green, good, and then I can just drag this out. So when you're going to pin connections on the edge, these you can connect to any layer. So it can be red or green coming into here. But for pads, those have to start as red, and then you can go down to green as you need to. So yeah, that's pretty much everything I have to say. The one thing you may want to do is look at what the planes look like. So I'll just show you this. So click on the left side here. This will fill in the planes, and then press B, and that'll update them. So if I zoom out a bit, yellow is the ground plane for me. So you can see this plane looks almost completely filled in, and that's good. That's what we want. And I can check out the 3.3 volt layer. Again, same thing. It's almost completely filled in, and that's what you want. And in the section you guys are doing, it's going to look, you're just going to have some dots for some vias, and that's about it. But it's a good thing to know how to do. So that's it. Thanks for watching. And yeah, main recap. Layer 1 and layer 4 are used for routing. Drop vias down for 3.3 volt and ground. Don't go into layers 2 and 3 for signals, only just do the vias into them for your power and ground connections. Top left quadrant of the board. Don't go down here, even if you see something that's not done. Don't go in this section because we don't want to mess it up now that it's already figured out. Yeah, that's it.